Welcome to another Berry Patch book review. Today I shall be reviewing the comic book adaptation of All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque. I apologize because I'm thinking I butchered it. And I also would like to apologize for if my voice sounds a bit off. I do have a cold as I am recording this, so it is very likely that my voice will not sound the way it normally would sound and I'll be off. But I just want to state before I continue any further that like normal for me, I should not be giving the comic book adaptation of All Quiet on the Western Front any stars, because I just don't give a rating to comic books. That's something I have decided. Also, I want to say that eventually, probably sometime in the summer, I shall read and review the actual novel that this comic book is based on. I'm saying in the summertime because that's when I'll have more time to do reading. So, what do I have to say about it? Fairly enjoyable, I would say, for the most part. I think the actual book will give me a better understanding of the storyline, because I kind of always, like with comic books, I do sometimes kind of get lost in the story, like what are they trying to go for here? But the artwork is impressive, and I do like the artwork. I think does a good job showing the horrors of the Western Front in World War One. Which I found pretty good to see. Yeah. Don't know too much what I need to say. This is going to be a short review as a result. Though I did like how at the back of the book they included a couple pages that gave background to the book, talking about World War One itself and the historical context, themes behind the book, that kind of stuff, timeline. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 pages long. The background. Still, it's relatively short compared to the comic book. If you like comic books and you like comic book adaptations of things already out, I would say go for it. But if you're not a comic book person, I think this is one you can skip. I honestly don't know to show because I'm not a comic book person, but I am picking up comic books and reading them. It's not because I just want to read the Star Wars comics, and I picked up this one because it fit. And just kind of something I think you guys would like to hear that while I was reading this, we were talking about World War One in my U.S. history class, in college, which I think just fits so perfectly. Again, of course, All Quiet on the Western Front does show the German perspective, but really, what difference is the German World War One, World War One soldier from a British soldier or a French soldier or an American soldier? Not too much difference. World War One, like I don't think there was truly any good or bad guys in World War One, especially when you're talking about the individual soldiers. You can make better arguments for the generals and the leaders, but when you're talking about individual soldiers, to claim that just because that man was fighting for one side that he was the bad guy, or a bad guy, that does kind of fall apart in World War One, the First World War, that started in 1914. You can't make that same argument for World War Two. You can make that maybe for a few individual soldiers on the side that fought for Germany, but you can't just make that as a blanket statement, because it was totally different, and because of the such contrasting ideological differences. But in World War One, ideological differences were vague at best. Nothing was super clear cut. Yes, maybe some were a bit more authoritarian than other countries, but it was a bit harder to say. Motivations for going to the war were convoluted. Like, individual soldiers in World War One, the First World War, were truly just overall victims of the power struggles of the generals and leaders of the European nations. I don't think you can ever really make that same argument about World War II. And World War One, I think makes that argument. You can make that argument, and I think All Quiet on the Western Front is displaying that argument that these are just men that have been thrown in this situation because of decisions totally out of their control. And that's, I think, something true for every power in the First World War. Can you make that same justification for the Second World War? No way. They could have stood up to Hitler in Germany. They could have. Now you can justify why, but you can't excuse. There's a huge difference between excusing what happened and justifying what happened, which I think is something a lot of people forget. You can justify why something is happening, i.e. explain what caused it, but that doesn't mean you can excuse what happened. Like, you can do that better in World War One because of the clear lack of purpose and the murder ideological differences between the powers, and because how different was Germany from England in the First World War? Yes, there were some differences beyond cultural differences, but politically they both wanted to expand their empires for the benefit of the country. So really, what difference? And I think that's something All Quiet on the Western Front is really trying to put out. It's of course from the German perspective, but it's showing that the German German soldiers suffered the same as the French and British soldiers on the other side of the front did. They don't really address that in the book, but that is what it is saying, because obviously we read it in the English-speaking world, All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know how popular it was in Germany after World War One, but it obviously was popular enough in America that as we consider it a classic and reference it a lot. So I think it is perfectly reasonable to say that All Quiet on the Western Front is really trying to show how the men on both sides were in the same situation. And I think there was one scene where it said that, but I think that's what it's getting on. So there's that. But I'll probably talk about this a bit more in detail when I actually get around to reading the book that the comic is based off of. Now actually I got way more talking about in this review than I anticipated, which I think is a good thing. But I want to leave it at that and say thank you for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. And in the comment section down below, just let me know, what do you think of the comic adaptation of All Quiet on the Western Front? Or just All Quiet on the Western Front in general if you have now read the comic book adaptation of it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel for more book reviews. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. Read some books.